for most people that want to be successful, you are thinking the right way. In my first 3 months of being funded, I made my first 10K in the market. And then it went on and on and on. So I was making money, but I never had an approach. I never had a trading plan. I never had a process of coming to the market. I was randomly using all the information I had gathered up until that point. Like, you know how it is. Like, you do these interviews. I'm interviewing pretty much everybody that I've ever watched online, everybody that has inspired me, everybody that has motivated me. I've interviewed them. I've gone to a lot of their homes and interviewed them. So the hospitality was there. And so I'm experiencing all of these things, but yet I'm not where I need to be. There was a period toward the end of 23 where I just was burnt out. And you can hear the defeat in my voice. And I was almost done. Like, I was just going to focus on my business, the agency, the media company, and just be done with it because I was exhausted. That was the turning point. And that was when I finally put a portion of that money I had saved up. I put it into a US regulated broker, and everything took off from there. And one of the first challenges I did to make sure that I was ready to go and that I was following this plan, I did this twice.
All right, folks, we've got Calvin in the house, probably a familiar face. He's another podcaster here on YouTube and obviously the internet. Welcome to the show, mate. It's been a while. we had a chat a few months ago, but yeah, welcome to the show, finally.
Cam, it's an honor to be here. Number one, first of all, I can't start this without just saying how amazing and how influential Trading Nut has been for myself. And I'm sure I speak for so many traders across the globe on just the interviews and just how you've been consistent for years. Like, what has been over, like 9
it's been
years?
Over 10 years now. 10 years,
yeah.
In fact. Yeah, I did look at it the date and I'm like, man, I should have celebrated that. I think it was actually this year that I did it. So 2015 was when I started Trading Nut, and I think I've had, I don't know, it's almost 400 plus traders on the show and varying formats. But yeah, look, mate, I'm so glad I can inspire the likes of yourself and other guys out there to do these podcasts. And I know there's plenty of them around now. So I want to hear your story though today. I want to get like to the nuts and bolts of, how you got into it and sort of quickly go through where you got to now. And we'll talk about what you're doing around your trading now. So yeah, over to you.
Yeah, man. So just pretty much for me, Cam, just to keep it short, man, grew up and all I knew was there was probably 3 ways to make it out of my community. I grew up in an area called Coconut Grove. That's a small community in Miami, Florida. And all I saw around me was 3 ways. I could be an athlete, I could be a rapper, or I could literally just get a good paying job. And so those were the 3 ways for me to kind of live a life outside of what I saw my mom living. I grew up, no father, just my mother, my grandmother. And so those were the 3 options for me. Around me, a lot of the people I grew up with ended up, into some other things, and they didn't necessarily be in the position that I was in. I had a mother that really sheltered me. A lot of other people I grew up with, they were exposed to a lot. So they didn't necessarily have that shelter and that innocence that I had. And so I knew I had that because I had friends that were exposed to not having their mom because their mom was in jail or their dad was in prison and just different things. And so I knew that early on that I had an opportunity to do something with myself. And I wanted to make the people that believed in me proud. And so sports didn't work out, of course. And to be honest, I tried the rap thing. I went to school for music business and I did the whole music thing. I got into DJing. I got into artist management, songwriting. I got into working with record labels, doing internships, and the industry just didn't seem like it was promising for me. And then I got married, Cam. And once I got married, things started to get serious for me. So I started a digital agency, and now it's kind of like a content creation agency now, social media agency now, and started to build that while I was working a warehouse job. And that started to build some traction. And I started to make some good money on the side. And then eventually it just got to a point where it's like, hey, let's go for it. Let's try to do this full time, get more clients. And then right along that time, I discovered trading, and things just excited me from there.
You've probably heard me talking about trading with confidence. And honestly, it's a lot easier when you're not risking your own money. That's why I wanted to mention Blue Guardian. They offer instant funding or a challenge to get you started and up to $400K in funding, weekly payouts and a 90% profit split. And they've already paid out over $15 million to traders around the world. Plus they're sponsoring Birmingham City FC and Chris Eubank Jr. So they're serious about backing performance. Check them out at blueguardian.com or check the link in the description.
And was it in line with having kids at all, just out of interest?
Yeah, so the kids didn't come into, so my first son was born when I was in the middle of working a warehouse job. I was a warehouse manager at the time, and me starting to build this digital agency. And essentially, with this digital agency, I'm essentially going out to like a lot of people doing it now. At that time, this was like 2017, 18, 19. A lot of people weren't doing it. But literally all I would do is go to business owners in my local area in Miami. These would be older, 50, 60, sometimes 70s. These were like brick and mortar businesses, your local pet shop, your food prep company, your water sports facility in Miami. Go to them and say, hey, look, there's this amazing opportunity on Facebook, on Instagram right now for you to advertise. You're spending $10, $20, $30,000 on billboards and newsletters with the postal service. It would be better and you'll save a lot of money if you just do it online. And that's where your audience is. And that's literally what I was doing, Cam. And so around that time, it was just one son. I had one son that was born in 2017. And so he was just like 1.5 at the time as I'm making this transition. So yes, I had one son, but it wasn't like where I am now where I have 3 kids,
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's that kid that kind of pushes everyone into, or people into entrepreneurship and that kind of thing and into trading eventually, I expect. So you found trading. How did the journey go at the start?
Yeah, man. So found trading. I had a friend of mine who he was with an MLM. He was telling me about it. And this is like the first year where I stepped away from the warehouse job. So I'm full-time in the business, but I'm so used to working a job. And guys, as you're listening right now, this is going to be literally the thing that keeps going in my journey that you're going to hear. It's the job mentality, right? And a lot of traders, when you come into trading, you have a job mentality, right? And so this is the thing that I'm still breaking to this day. So I'm used to having this warehouse job. I have a salary. I get paid the same amount of money every single month, but I have the benefit of not actually working the actual hours that would require me to make that amount of money. So I'm working less hours than what I'm being paid. So it's a great situation. So I'm allowed to like build this business on the side while I'm working this job, but I have a job mentality. So when I eventually left the job and started building this agency full time, I'm still used to having guaranteed money. So I'm Ubering and Uber Eats at the same time while I'm trying to build this business. And if you look at it from a bird's eye view, it doesn't make sense. It's like put more energy into getting more clients. Why are you wasting time Ubering and doing those things? But because I'm used to the job mentality. I'm used to having something guaranteed and my faith is not yet built up to believe in myself enough to just go all in on myself, right? And so I'm driving this guy one day, Cam, and I don't even know why I was driving people that day because I was making more money doing the Uber Eats because I would get tips and like the area that I was in was a high end Uber area, like Uber Eats area in Miami. So for some reason I picked up somebody and I noticed that this guy was at a furniture store, a high end furniture store, and where I was taking him was really far away. It was like an hour away. So I'm like, why is this guy coming way over here? Because in Miami, you have duplicates of everything within like a 5-mile radius, right? Because there's so many people in Miami. So I'm like, there's like 15, 20 furniture stores that's closer to him. Why is he coming way over here? So me, I'm a talker, as you know, Cam, right? We had a private conversation. We were talking for almost an hour. And so I'm asking him questions and I'm just like, hey, like what brings you to this side of town? Like first I asked him, where am I taking you? He's like, hey, like I'm going home. And then, I start asking, well, why this particular store? So he begins to explain to me, yeah, I'm building out a home office. And like, I really wanted to be nice for me and my wife. And so I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I'm a realtor by trade, but lately I've just been day trading in the stock market. This catches my eye. I had a friend that's been telling me, he's with an MLM. He's been telling me, you need to start trading. You need to sign up with this company and they're going to teach you how to trade. But I knew it's something fishy with that because my guy has not been really trading. I don't know him as a trader. So where's this coming from, right? So I'm not really listening to my friend. But when I get this guy in an Uber and he says he's a realtor, but he hasn't really sold houses in a few months. He's just been day trading. Now my eye is attentive now. And so, man, we're driving and we got a good drive, an hour or so drive, Cam. And he is telling me a lot of things. And he recommends this book, this black book, How to Day Trade for a Living. That goes on to be Dr. Andrew Aziz's book, who I went on to interview later. So that was like a full circle moment right there. Yeah. So he basically says, look, read this book. You're going to need some money to start up. I started up with $5,000. But I mean, the opportunity is here. If you're determined, if you want to do it, the opportunity is here. He's like, yo, you're out here Ubering. Like, he didn't really know my story, but he's like, you're out here Ubering all day. If you can dedicate yourself to this, you won't have to Uber anymore. And, essentially that's what he was saying. So I dropped this guy off. I ordered the book immediately, Cam. And the only thing that caught my attention in that book was the fact that he had students. Dr. Andrew Aziz said he had students that 6 months into the journey, 6 months to a year into the journey, were making about $4,000 to $8,000 a month consistently. And when I saw that, I said to myself, I'm going to reach out to my boy, see what this Forex is about. I'm not interested in stocks, but I do want to check out this currency market. And if I could produce an extra on top of my business, if I can invest some money from my business into trading and produce an extra, let's just say $4,000, like the bare minimum a month, that's like, I'll be perfect. I'll stop Ubering because I have something guaranteed. Because again, I'm always looking for something guaranteed because I have that worker's mindset, right? So I'm like, trading can be my job and it can be the guarantee while I'm working on business. And so that was it. And so I start going after the journey. Of course, I end up signing up for the MLM. I last a week, I quit, right? And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, there's no way, there's no education happening here. And then I just started going on the journey. And then I found a mentor, rest in peace, Clarence Gatlin Jr. He was my first mentor. He passed away just last year. But he was the person that really exposed me to everything that I'm doing now in the market. But when he was teaching me, I really was a bad student. I really did not listen to him. I really felt like he had more information than he was giving. I felt like there was more things that I needed to know that he wasn't giving me in the timetable that I wanted it. And so after a year and a half of doing that mentorship, I ended up leaving. And that's when I really birthed the podcast. And I started interviewing people to get close to them. The podcast was really just me as a developing trader trying to find my way in the market and just trying to get consistency. I was making money, Cam. I was getting funded. In 2020, I started trading April 1st of 2020. I got funded October 1st, 2021. In my first 3 months of being funded, I made my first 10K in the market. And then it went on and on and on. So I was making money, but I never had an approach. I never had a trading plan. I never had a process of coming to the market. I was randomly using all the information I had gathered up until that point. And I had no probability, Cam. I had no real statistics. Like my equity curve was literally, shoot to the moon and then drop down halfway. Shoot back up, drop down halfway. It was like somebody that's being, like resuscitated or something. You know what I'm saying? It was that bad, Cam. And that's what birthed the podcast. I wanted to get close to the people that I looked up to, the people I saw on Instagram, the people I saw on YouTube. I wanted to get close to them. And so how can I get close to them in a way where I didn't have to pay, in a way that I could give them some value? Because again, I come from media. That's my background. So I know how to build an audience. I know how to do those things naturally. I've been doing it behind the scenes for other people for years. So for me, it's like, how can I get close to the people that I want to get close to while giving them a platform, while also adding value to the people that are just like me? So essentially my podcast was built for people that were trying to figure it out the same way I was trying to figure it out. But I'm like, hey, we can grow publicly together. And so that was the trading journey up until about like 2023. Just making money, but I don't have I can't track what I'm doing.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
And so you said you were there's a ton of stuff in there, right? But you said you were a bad student. So why were you such a bad student?
Because, so if we fast forward to how I'm trading now, which is strictly market structure, everything that I'm doing now is everything my first mentor was teaching me. Everything I'm doing now is what he taught me. Now, I didn't necessarily know how to use it because I didn't have the experience yet, right? But everything I'm doing now was everything he was introducing me to. But I was so in a rush. And the reason I was in a rush is because I'm looking at videos, I'm watching interviews of people making millions of dollars, and I'm watching people buy cars, I'm watching people retire their family, and I'm thinking I'm the only one that's out here inconsistent. Make money, take a withdrawal, trade the next week, lose it all. Have to put the money I just withdraw back into the account to kind of build it, right? And so I'm the person thinking like it must be just me. So that's why I was a bad student, because everything I'm doing now that's been consistent for me, that's been working, that's turned me into a consistent, confident trader, it was introduced to me from my first mentor. So if I would have stayed there and just submitted myself as a student, I think my trajectory would be totally different.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it, though. I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it.
It's the funny thing, isn't it? It's just so hard, somebody who's trying to teach you exactly what they do, and for people to accept that and get everything out the way and just let it happen is almost impossible, right? Like you're kind of talking about the 1%. The 1% will let that happen. The rest of everyone else is going to somehow screw that up and go, nah, I know better than you. You've been doing it for 20 years, but I'm pretty sure I've got a better idea on how it's going to work. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But it's great to hear that you're not the only one, and other people aren't the only one. It happens to everyone pretty much. So you also talk about the fact that, you were just inconsistent, and, you're up and down, up and down. I mean, what can you even explain what you were trying to do from a charting point of view at that point?
Yeah, I was doing everything. So I was scalping. I had a strategy called Make Money Every Day. That's what I called it. It was a support. It was a support and resistance, break and retest strategy. And it worked. It made me my first $10,000 in the market after I got funded. It was a consistent strategy. I was looking for, my stop loss was always 10 pips. And I was looking to make between 20, 30 pips. So it's basically like a 2-to-1 or like a 1-to-2 risk to reward. And it worked. It really worked. But the issue was that I didn't understand why it worked. So I was never looking at structure. I was never doing a top-down analysis. So I never knew why it was working. I just knew it was working. And what happened was I didn't understand how to just journal was one thing. Journaling is one thing. But I really didn't understand how to, like Warren Buffett has this thing where he says, no, Ray Dalio has this thing, not Warren Buffett. Ray Dalio has this thing where he says, and for those that don't know who Ray Dalio is, like he owns probably one of the biggest like hedge funds like here in the US. But he has this thing where he's like, whenever you get results with something and you like the results, go back and track everything you did and write it down. And then the next time and then like the next time you're doing that thing, track it again and see if what you did the first time ends up being the same thing you did the last time. And if it isn't, see if there are any consistent variables there. And then every time you do something that gets a positive result, track it and then look for the similarities, look for the variables that are the same. And then that's what you need to be doing over and over again, right? And so I wasn't doing that. Like I was just hyped off the fact that I was making money doing it. And so I was scalping, I was breaking retest strategy. It worked. But of course, as I started scaling up in position sizes and getting more funding, I ended up blowing it, because once you win, you feel like you can't lose. You know what I'm saying? And then you hold a trade too long and then you lose it all. So I was scalping. Then I started doing like this intraday thing where I now started incorporating a top-down analysis. And so I was looking for like, I'll go to like the 4-hour, and if the 4-hour was trending up, I'll look for like reversal patterns or like continuation patterns. So like head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders or double bottoms, double tops. And then if I see those taking place on the higher time frame, I'll scale down to the lower time frame and then look for entries off of key levels, right? So I was doing a little bit of that as well. And then I had other sequences, bro, where I was doing like some of what Stacey Burke teaches. Like I love what Stacey Burke does. And so I started looking to some of his like philosophies around, like pump and dumps and things like that. Like one of my GOATs in the industry, right? Like people ask me, Calvin, who do you personally look up to? My GOAT is Kyle Williams. He's a stock trader, right? And he trades those type of sequences, those pump and dumps and those like first red days and things like that, right? And so I started dabbling into that type of stuff. And so I was all over the place. Making money though, that's the thing. I was actually being able to make money. I just had no type of consistency. I couldn't tell myself, I could not, like if my wife came to me, right? And she's not here right now, but she would literally be my witness. Between 2021 and 2000, like up until the beginning of 2024, I could not tell you how much money I was going to make trading on a month-to-month basis. Now, I understand the market is random and we all, like all consistent traders know, you can't really say how much you're going to make, but real traders know there is a range. You know, there is a range. If you have a quality amount of setups, there is a range based on the probability of your setup. You know how many you're going to lose over a month. You know this because you have the data, right? And that's how it is for me now. And so you know a range of what you'll make given you have the right amount of setups. And so I couldn't give my wife a range. You know what I'm saying? At all. She was like, so how much you think you're going to make for trading this month? I'd be like, I don't even know. And it would be some months where I'll do like $5-6 grand. And then there'll be other months where I'll do a couple hundred. And there'll be other months where I just lose all my funded accounts. And I knew that was it. I knew, and this is why I traded prop firms so much from 2021 to the beginning of 2024, because I was scared to put my own money in the market. I was saving money. So I had this account called my Forex account, my 10X account. And in my business bank account, I had them create this reserve account where it would take a certain percentage out of all the money I would make whenever I got paid. It would take a certain percentage out and it was stored in this reserve account. And that was the money that I was going to use to build my trading portfolio. But I was so scared. And I've been building that since I first got funded, since 2021. And so it was money sitting there that that was ready to be invested into a regulated broker. But I was nervous. I was scared because I knew I couldn't track what I was doing. So that's pretty much, like in terms of the consistency thing and what I was doing, that was it.
That is crazy. I mean, in terms of the fact that you were actually making money every day. I mean, how did you even balance that? So you had this business that you were running, you're doing Uber Eats and you were trading. Like, I mean, was there any even consistency in terms of your time at the charts?
Hey, if candlesticks still confuse you, they're costing you more than you think. My private mentor JJ's decoded 25,000 hours of trading into one better candlestick. Click the link in the description or visit tradingnut.com to watch the free video and grab the free guide.
So some days it would be London, just waking up early because I was up all night anyway because I'm working. You know what I'm saying? So I'm up all night anyway. But, sometimes it was London and sometimes it was New York. Whenever I saw a setup, but it was never Asian session. It was never after 12 p.m. I knew from my first mentor that those times don't produce the volatility for the moves that I'm looking for. I always knew that. My first mentor, he really taught us how to study currency pairs and how to understand when the bigger moves initiate. And they always take place pre-London going into London Open and pre-New York going into New York Open. Now, you do have your anomalies where sometimes something will happen and it'll initiate a move in Asian, but that's rare. We're talking about setups that you can rinse and repeat over time. The volatility is in the pre-London going to London Open, pre-New York going into New York Open. So it was sometimes London, it was sometimes New York.
And what markets were you trading primarily?
Cam, it was anything. So
anything.
Yeah. Except for like indices and commodities, but it was any currency pair. Now there was a stretch. Like there was a stretch when I really started being consistent that I only traded the pound yen. So GBP, JPY, GJ as we call it. There was a stretch when I was really, really consistent, like at my best. During that stage of my journey, it was just GJ. Like when I locked in on GJ, that really produced a lot of consistency for me. But I was pretty much all over the place for sure.
Right.
But still making, and that was the thing. I was making money. Yeah. And so a lot of times I couldn't relate. Like, a lot of traders would say, man, Calvin, like you just like me, you know what I'm saying? Like when they would see me put out videos about me being, upset or like, man, another losing week, I would see traders in the comments say, I know, Calvin, man, I just can't make no money. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, but I am making money. I just didn't make money today, but I'm up. You know what I'm saying? I've made way more money than I've invested into this. And so it's like, I related with a lot of people around me, but at the end of the day, I knew in the back of my mind, like, you're not negative though.
Because that's quite interesting. Like, I mean, even though you didn't have a fixed rigid strategy, you didn't have like any consistency or discipline, even by the sounds of it, from what you're doing, you were still making money. Now, I personally think that comes with with a mindset kind of approach. I mean, the fact that he had a make money strategy. It's my make money strategy. Make something every day, whatever you called it. Do you think that you had a mindset that sort of, I suppose, was useful for your trading?
No, it was no mindset. It literally was, honestly, I was exposed to a trader that really knew what he was doing. Like my first mentor, again,
Yeah.
He passed away, but he really knew what he was doing. And he gave me the foundation that I believe put me like 5 years ahead of where I really was. So even though I was recklessly doing other things, the things that he taught me, the foundation was still in me. Like I knew it was certain times to trade. I knew it was intuition. Like I had a lot of intuition from watching him. I knew that there were certain times when a market would be pushing up, but I knew it was just a pullback on a higher time frame. So I would just sit and wait. And as soon as the market will start to switch again, I would sell it,
Yeah.
boom, and then it'll be like 100 pip drop. Like I just knew. Now, of course, I wasn't staying in for 100 pips at that time. I would just get my 20 pips and get out. But I would come back and see the market went like an additional 100 pips or like a total of 100 pips. And so there were a lot of things that foundationally were in me that I didn't see at the time. And that's when we go back to like, I was a horrible student because I could have stayed right there and been where I needed to be, for sure. For sure.
It's funny because I've done that before where I tested myself and said, right, I'm just going to trade in what I've called an intuitive approach. And it actually worked really well. And so it was like all the stuff that I knew so much stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, same thing. See the pullback and get in just before it pushes and you have a tight stop and stuff. So it's interesting. So you obviously decided at some point that it's time to just make this more of a consistent, like every month I'm going to get this or whatever every week. How did you go about that?
For sure. Great question. So for me, it was a lot of prayer, Cam. So I'm a praying man. I believe in Jesus Christ and like that's the foundation of everything for me. And so I just got to a point where I got burnt out. Imagine, like, how it is. Like you do these interviews. I'm interviewing pretty much everybody that I've ever watched online, everybody that has inspired me, everybody that has motivated me. I've interviewed them. I've gone to a lot of their homes and interviewed them. So the hospitality was there. And so I'm experiencing all of these things. But yet I'm not where I need to be. Yeah, I'm making money, but I'm not consistent. I'm scared to put this money that I've been saving into my actual trading account, Cam. So I'm not where I need to be. Okay. And, there was a period toward the end of 23, and those that listen to my audio podcast, like that episode is out there, where I just was burnt out. And you can hear the defeat in my voice. And I was almost done. Like I was just going to focus on my business, the agency, the media company, and just be done with it because I was exhausted. I was tired of the interviews and interviewing people and putting so much energy into that, but me not being confident enough to do what I need to do, right? And so I just got exhausted. And, honestly, Cam, I just prayed, and I said, God, like you brought this to me, like ultimately, you brought this to me. I wasn't looking for it, but you knew it was a fit for me. See, like that's the thing. Like for certain people, trade, like you don't know what it is. Like I didn't know nothing about day trading. Yeah, I knew about stocks, but I didn't know nothing about day trading in the Forex market. But it fits me so well because I'm the type of person, I came from I was a warehouse manager, Cam. Like, why was I a warehouse manager? Because I'm the type of guy, just tell me what you need done and leave me alone and just let me do it. That's what the warehouse job is. There's nobody over your back. You just get the job done and you're good to go. So trading was perfect because it was me against me. It was all about me. If I show up, if I do what I'm supposed to do, I can make money. And so trading just fit. It was a perfect fit for me. And I just prayed. I said, God, you brought this to me. You brought me here. I need this to work. I need you to open up my understanding, open up everything that I need to get. I need you to show it to me because this is it. I am done. And so I made a decision as I came into 2024. I said, well, this is like a little bit into 2024, like halfway through 2024, because I started trading futures a little bit. And then I just came to myself and said, look, we're going to go back and look at all the funded accounts I had. So I went to my email. I got the login. At that time, all the funded accounts I had, they were registered with MT4. So if you guys still have your login, like even with my Forex funds, if you have your login, because it's on the MT4 server, those accounts are still there. So they'll pop up if you put in info. I went through all of the ones, I was probably funded 600,000-700,000 in total, and I never brought big accounts. Like I brought 50K accounts, 100K accounts. That's it. And so I just built up from there. But I logged into those accounts and I looked at the trades that were the most consistent, where I had little drawdown, big reward. And it was when I was intraday trading. And so I literally gathered all of this data and I made a decision that I'm going to stick with Forex because I have more experience and more edge in Forex. And I went back and I went through that data and I was like, the scalping was good, but the risk to reward wasn't there. So I looked at the trades that had small risk, big reward. And I was like, I was intraday trading there. And then I went back and just tried to piece together, hey, what was I doing here? Just tried to remember and just look at the setup and just kind of, go back in history. I even paid for the highest version on TradingView so I can go all the way back, right? Nice. And so I just kind of went back and just kind of sniffing through, trying to remember, because again, I wasn't journaling. I wasn't taking screenshots. I wasn't doing any of this stuff that my first mentor was saying we need to do. And so once I did that, I said, market structure definitely is the way. And then I said, I need to start looking for these high risk reward setups. And that was the turning point. And that was when I finally put a portion of that money I had saved up. I put it into a US regulated broker and everything took off from there. And one of the first challenges I did to make sure that I was ready to go and that I was following this plan, I did this twice. I put $100 into an offshore broker. So I had a $100 account. And I had this compound plan to grow it to 1,000 in a month. The first time I did it in 3.5 weeks. The second time I did it in 4 months. In 1 month and 4 weeks. Wow. And I knew in each trade I took, I followed the same rules because that was the test. Like Ray Dalio said, if you find something that works, write down everything you did and do it again. And that was the test. I did it twice with $200 accounts, grew it to 1,000 in a month. And I deposited the rest of the money I had saved, and I've been building that capital since.
Awesome. And so when you say compounding, what was your compounding approach?
Oh, yeah. It was very simple. So literally every trade I was risking, I'm not telling nobody to do this. This was just what I wanted to do to validate if my data served me well. It was a quick thing that I wanted to do. It was I'm not telling nobody to do this. It was no real thought behind it. I just wanted to validate real quick that I was ready because I had already went back on data, did some demo trading and things like that. So I just wanted to validate it in a live environment that I'm able to follow it and do it. So I literally was risking like $25 like per trade, just high risk because I just wanted to validate it quick and just trade the setup. And the goal was just to take 1 or 2 trades per week. And I was able to do it. And it was just like the intention was just to be a quick sample size. I do not risk 25% of my personal
25%. Okay, sorry. I thought you said $25, but yeah, 25%. Okay, right. So that's high risk. That's high risk. So that must have been quite a good win rate.
So it was $25 on the $100 account that I was risking. That's what it was. So that's 25%. 25%.
Okay, cool. And so let's go back to that back testing part where you got TradingView history. You've got your setup that you think you've pieced it together. Yep. Was there anything in there? Because this is, I think, where a lot of people kind of fall apart, where they go back and back test something and get despondent because it's not working, or because you've had to piece it together. There would have been times, I'm guessing, where you saw a setup and it didn't quite work out, or it didn't, you had 3 or 4 losses in a row or something like that. How did you get past that stage?
That wasn't even that wasn't even a hurdle for me, Cam. Like, honestly, the main thing for me, like I was saying, the foundation that was in me, like, it's just intuition. Like, I knew what I was looking for. I knew I wanted these bigger moves, these moves that maybe I could stay in for the day that go 100 pips or maybe more. These were the setups that my mentor was catching. My first mentor, Clarence, was catching. And so these were things that were instilled in me. So as I'm going through the data, I'm just kind of looking at my entries and I'm seeing, hey, on this trade, I made like $1,000, but I'm looking at my lot size and my lot size was only like $15 per pip movement or something. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, okay, that was a good risk reward there. And then the trades that I saw with heavy lot sizes that had like a 10 lot on it, moving $100 per pip movement. And then I'm only making like 1,000. I'm like, okay, that was a scalp there, right? So I was more so looking at those moves. And when I would see those, then I would go back to my trading view. I would look at the coordinate and then I would look at the date that it was taken. And then I would just go back on TradingView, find that date and just look, okay, where is a candle that's going in this direction with this coordinate? And then I would just see, and then I would just kind of just zoom out and just kind of say, okay, what's happening here? And just kind of dissect what's going on based off the knowledge that I already know. Yeah. And then I built the plan from there. I built the plan from there, mixed with things that I've learned over time, like things about trend lines and, how to identify trends and like support and resistance and, like how to look for momentum in the market. Just all of these things that I've gathered over the course of my journey. I started to tie these things in as confluences to put together to know when to buy and when to sell.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So, and it's actually quite a good, if anyone didn't really pick up on the, I suppose what you've said in between the lines there was you kind of just had a look at the move and then pieced it together backwards from there versus going in with a strategy and going, all right, let's find that exact strategy and then test it across time, which is ingenious really when you think about it. Because at the end of it, you're going to have something that more than likely works. So, hey, look, that's awesome. So you broke the back of that 1,000 challenge twice.
Yep. Knocked it out.
Talk us through that very first, second, third trade on the full whack personal account. How did that feel?
I mean, amazing. Literally like walking the dog in the park. Literally. Right. Because literally, Cam, it's at the point now I'm doing the same thing every single week. And this is where I felt confident in having a community at this point, having people watch me, because it's like, I'm literally doing the same thing every single week. You know what I'm saying? So now I can entertain this because it doesn't take away from what I'm doing. It adds to what I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? And so it was amazing. It was like, yo, this thing really works. And I already knew it worked. And that's what I tell traders, right? When traders talk about psychology, and look, I'm not trying to create a viral moment here, right? Psychology is definitely there is a part of every trader's journey where you have to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I well, right? Am I thinking the right way to be successful? But what I believe, right, for most people that want to be successful, you are thinking the right way. You want to be successful. There are so many people in this world that don't want to be successful. They're comfortable with the status quo. So if you're already going after success, you're pretty much thinking the right way. There are just some things you need to learn, and you have to give yourself time to learn it. And that's the thing. Traders want to achieve, again, I told you the job mentality, it's going to be a consistent factor here on my journey. Cam, on your job, you get paid for production. In trading, you get paid to wait. You cannot bring a job mentality to trading. You know what I'm saying? You cannot say, I'm coming to the market and I'm going to get paid, right? You cannot. And when a trader builds a plan that they have tested and they have confidence in that plan, there's no psychology needed for me in that point because I know the result. I have confidence in this. I know if I wait for my plan, I have a higher probability of winning than losing. So the confidence in what I do, it produces the fact that I'm not going to be undisciplined. So mindset wise, what do I have to work on? It's the equivalent of literally my wife. My wife is committed to me. I'm committed to my wife. I'm not with my wife right now. My wife is right now at the pool with my kids. Okay. I don't have to worry about my wife running off with another man because I have confidence in my wife. You know what I'm saying? Some other guys, maybe they have to watch over their woman. I don't have to. I'm 10 years in the game. We've been through we do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not to say it's like this ego thing. It's just no, I know I have confidence in who I marry. She has confidence in me. So I don't need to keep working on, you know what I'm saying? Like trust issues or like me being like a person that has trust issues. I don't have to work on that because I have confidence in my relationship. Well, I have confidence in myself and I have confidence in what we've built together, right? And so I feel like sometimes traders go to the psychology thing because they don't have confidence in what they do. And they maybe don't, or rather haven't gotten the confidence or the knowledge even to get to a point to understanding what they do. Because it flipped for me, Cam. Things went to a whole nother, when I lose a trade now, or if I, in February, I had 3 weeks of straight losses, all right? I had 3 weeks of straight losses. How I knew that I was confident in what I do now is because I came to the market the last week of February, Cam, and I caught 3 trades that week. And those 3 trades put my account back positive for the month. I knew at that point, I said, Calvin, all you got to do is keep working on yourself every day, meaning stay in your routine, keep praying, just keep praying, keep doing your normal routine, back testing, going over your setups, taking screenshots. If you stay focused and don't get distracted, you got it, bro, because you got extreme confidence. For a trader to lose 3 weeks straight in front of people, I'm in front of a community of people doing it. I'm taking, probably like 2 trades a week. And I've literally lost. That's 2, 4, 6. That's 6 trades in a row for 3 weeks straight. I lost in a row. To still come back the 4th week of the month and do the same exact thing, I knew at that point, nothing can stop me. There's going to have to be a new hurdle or something that I haven't seen yet come. But once I passed that test, I was like, bro, you confident in what you're doing, bro.
Yeah,
you confident.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So with that, 6 trades, lost 6 trades. That's -6. Let's call it -6.
This month in February.
Yeah. And so what's your risk to reward to win 3 and bring it all back?
I never take a trade. There's no trade that I take that does not present the opportunity for a 1 to 3 risk to reward.
Right.
3R.
Okay.
If it does not present a minimum of 3R, I don't touch it. Now, on average, I'm making about 5 to 6R. 1 to 2 trades per week. 1 to 2 trades per week. We've been doing this for over a year now. 1 to 3 trades per week. All right. And every week is not, like a profitable week. Like there are some weeks that are break even. Last week, I had 2 losses and I'm -2% on my biggest account. I'm -2%. Max, I risk 1% per trade. That's max. And sometimes I'll go lower if the setup is kind of like, well, it's news coming out, I'll go a little less. But max is 1% per trade. I'm negative on my main account. I'm not negative overall, but last week I was -2%. So it's not like every week I'm just hitting. No, but it's been consistent months. So far this year, it's been consistent, profitable months.
So you're still trading like GJ, or have you changed markets up again, or what are you doing?
I still trade GJ. So yeah. So I have a basket of instruments that I go through. And this is something, again, Stacy Burke, man. And shout out to Stacy Burke, a friend of mine, Ralph. He put me up on Stacy Burke. Even though I don't trade the way Stacy trades, when I was looking into his material, his mindset was really aligned with what my mentor taught me. And I found a few people that have aligned with that. Stacy Burke is one of them. But Stacy preaches a basket of instruments, right? And I love what Stacy preaches because he's telling people the reality of the market. In Forex, there is no daily like trading every single day and being super profitable because the market doesn't produce that type of volatility every single day. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't, right? But there are certain moves that are happening throughout the week on different instruments. So if you have a basket of instruments and you know your setup, you know what you're looking for, you can capitalize on big moves every single week. And that's how I look at things. So I have a basket of instruments. I'll look at GJ. I'll look at, so GJ, USD CAD. I'll look at GU, of course. Cable is a must. I'll look at Euro USD. And what's the last one? Euro JPY. I'll look at those 5 pairs. Sometimes I'll look at gold. I'll look at the NASDAQ. I'll look at US 30 because I do have offshore broker, smaller accounts that I compound and just withdraw money from throughout the week and stuff like that. So sometimes I'll look at those as well. But the main pairs is my main account. That's the main thing I'm focused on. All the other trades I take, they kind of copy from the main account. Outside of when I trade US 30 and NAS, of course, because you can't trade those on the US regulated broker. But those are the main currencies I'm looking at. GJ, USD CAD, Cable, which is GBP USD, Euro USD, and Euro JPY. Those are the main ones I'm looking at. And out of those 5, I'm able to spot 1 to 2 high probability setup that produce 100 pips each week for sure.
That's awesome. And it's your rarity really when it comes down to it, because a lot of the US guys have kind of transitioned across to futures or have been just regulated out of the market. So for you to still stick it with Forex is quite the story. Hey, look, Calvin, it's been fantastic having you on. Hopefully we can jump onto a price chart after this and have a quick look at what some of the things you do. So what's the best way for folks to find out more about you first?
Forex Beginner Podcast. On YouTube, on Instagram, all of that stuff.
Well, folks, what we'll do is we'll hook up a link to that below the show here. Go and check it out. We'll also include the links to his podcast there as well. Folks, we'll get down there, hit subscribe, like, and that notifications bell, and we'll see you in the next one.